And now we start to operate in where can we find a value play, Sal, below $4,000? Where are the values on this showdown slate, Sal? Where are they, right? People from the Clips channel are saying, where are they right now? Below $4,000, there's going to be some names here, and they're not going to be looking like good names. We can start off with Cam Sims, who you might be saying, this might be the guy, Sal. This dude scored a touchdown last time. So let's slow down here, right? 10 routes run over the last 2 games. Not 10 routes each game, 10 total routes, 5 routes run per game, right? And during that time, on 10 routes, he's seen 4 targets, 4 catches, 29 yards, and a touchdown. That is a 40% target rate. That is nowhere near going to continue. He's been splitting this wide receiver 3 row with Humphries and Dax Millen, and now Humphries might return, and now Curtis Samuel might return, and now Logan Thomas might return. So Cam Sims at $3,800. I'm sorry, he's probably $3,000 overpriced on this slate. I have Cam Sims for 1.8 fantasy points. No, thank you. John Bates is $3,600. Another man who is overpriced. He is going to be, so look, the last 2 games he's been operating as the primary tight end. Ricky Seals-Jones gets hurt versus Tampa Bay, and then last game there's no Logan Thomas or Ricky Seals-Jones. In those last 2 games, he's actually seen decent usage. 31 routes run in the last 2 games, 6 catches for 48 yards, 6 targets. So 10.5 fantasy points through 2 games. That's like 5.5 fantasy points a game, which is not the worst if you were to get that on this slate at $3,800 or $3,600. The problem is I don't think he's going to get that because now he's going to operate as the tight end 2 behind Logan Thomas. Expect his routes run to go from being around 15, 16 per game to now being like 6 to 8 per game, and expect 0 to 1 targets, which means at $3,600, he's probably $3,000 overpriced. I have him projected for 1 flat, no decimal, 1 fantasy point today. If there was a place to try and find some value on this slate, I think this is where we get it. These next 2 receivers, 1 from each team. $2,800 Adam Humphries. We have to make sure that he's actually active. I think he's going to play. He's questionable, but he's been in a limited practice all week long, but we will end up tracking that status. If he plays, I would expect 20 to 25 routes here, right? Curtis Samuel being active is likely to take more away from DeAndre Carter on the outside than an Adam Humphries. But overall, Samuel being out there takes away from Humphries, a better player. Logan Thomas being out there in the middle of the field takes away from Humphries, just a bigger body, especially in the red zone. But Humphries right now, expect 20 to 25 routes, expect 2 to 4 targets, and expect somewhere around 2 or 3 receptions in this game. It is a decent value tag because of that. I don't think Humphries looks elite, but if you get Humphries for a 2 or 3 catch game for 20 or 30 yards, 5 or 6 fantasy points below the kicker's price tags could get it done for you. Doesn't look great, but if there's something down here that looks decent below $3,000, I would say Adam Humphries looks the best. The man who's next in line next to him would be the wide receiver 3 on Seattle, Freddie Swain, right? This is a guy who over the last 5 weeks, over the last 3 weeks has 0 receptions, by the way. So that's not a great sell to begin with, but we're talking about this specific game, right? His snaps have dropped each of the last 5 weeks to a season low or a 6-week low 40% last time out for Freddie Swain. Again, that is not great. Freddie Swain right now is basically a touchdown or bust at this price tag. There's been 2 or 3 weeks where Freddie Swain has gotten you there. He's scored a touchdown in those games. So you have to have, and one of those games was a blown coverage, so he's nowhere near as good as this 4.8 fantasy points per game is saying, which I know is not even good. If I had to choose between Adam Humphries and Freddie Swain, I would lean to Adam Humphries, who I've projected for about a point more right now. I think they both come in around 15% owned or so. The next man up is going to be owned, I think, probably higher than he should. He probably comes in maybe with like a 8% ownership number on him tonight. That's going to be a little bit too high. Look, he's played 20% of the snaps in 2 of his last 3 games. Jarrett Patterson, the rookie, but he's only ran 5 total routes this year, not just in the last 2 or 3 games, the entire season, right? That's a lot of games he's been active for, like 6 games. He's only ran 5 routes. So there's a 0 in the passing game. 20% of the snaps last week led to 7 opportunities on the ground. So even if you think that the rookie Jarrett Patterson is going to see 20% of the snaps, which would be a lot, would tie like his season high, and you think he's going to see 7 or 8 touches on the ground, which again would see pretty close to his season high numbers, even if you think those things are going to happen, you give him 8 carries tonight, 8 carries against a good run defense, what does that give you? He's probably not going to get the goal line touches. That's Antonio Gibson's role. He's not getting the passing game work as shown this year, and that's McKissick's role. So 8 carries on the ground, he probably has to break a long touchdown. That is the only way you play $1,000 Jarrett Patterson today. Otherwise, 8 carries, even in a good game, is going to go for like 30 yards. And I'm sorry, 3 fantasy points, even at $1,000, isn't enough to win a slate, and that's in a good game for him. So Patterson, for me, is not going to be in play. If you're looking for a player $1,000 or below, somebody to just absolutely punt the slate on, it would be Will Dissly. Look, he's been less involved, though, since Gerald Everett has been back. And his last 2 games, when Everett has been in and Russell Wilson is now back, he's played 50% of the snaps in the last 2 games combined, which is the lowest he's seen since week 3, right? And what happened around week 3, that's when Russ gets hurt and Gerald Everett gets hurt, so that's why. But it led to 24 routes these last 2 games, so 12 routes a week, 3 catches on 5 targets for 38 yards. So this usage is not terrible for the price tag. Like if you're telling me that I'm going to get around 14, 15 routes, and it could easily drop back down to what he was doing weeks 1, 2, and 3, just 8 routes run. But if there's a chance I can get 15 routes and 2 or 3 targets from a $600 player today, especially a tight end who is likely to be on the field for a couple plays in the red zone, it at least keeps him in play. Again, right now I probably prefer Adam Humphries more. At this point, I prefer Adam Humphries and Freddie Swain more because those guys are going to run 20 to 25 25 routes, double to triple the routes as Will Dissly. But if you're looking for a last-ditch effort, just throw your hands in the air like you just don't care punt play, it would be Will Dissly. The rookie D. Eskridge has been battling back from injuries this year. He only has 8 total routes, though, as they don't really use wide receiver 4s in this offense all that much. Since returning, he has 8 total routes, 1 catch, -4 yards. Not great. Dax Millen, the rookie that played, if you're not familiar, I'm probably mispronouncing the last game, played with at BYU with Mr. Zach Wilson. He's had at least 1 target in 6 straight games, which is very surprising. 21 total routes during his last 3 games have led to 5 targets, 4 catches, 49 yards. Some garbage time in there, and that's not great, right? That's the last 3 games. That's him averaging 3 fantasy points a game, and that's like the upper end of his usage, and now you're getting to come back Logan Thomas, Adam Humphries, and Curtis Samuel. So it's tough to like Dax today. I've got Dax for 0.7 fantasy points. I've got the rookie Diami Brown for a half a fantasy point today. Only 7 total routes in the last 2 games, and that's with no Samuel. And now Samuel's going to return, who he is basically the direct replacement for. I'm sorry, out of UNC, the rookie Diami Brown, I'm probably not getting to you. So as you can see here, there's like really fluky punt plays that have some upside though in Adam Humphries, Freddie Swain, and Will Dissly. You start to go to the mid-range, and it is really just dominated by kickers and defenses other than Logan Thomas, other than Curtis Samuel, who I have Curtis Samuel as a no. I think we can put him towards a maybe. Other than those guys, it's tough. And then you get to this upper mid-range. Outside of the studs up top, the studs up top all look good, right? I mean, this range of Russell Wilson to DK Metcalf is where your captains are going to come from. If there was a range for another captain in the mid-range, I'd probably say it's some sort of combination of Logan Thomas and an Alex Collins. Collins has 2 touchdown upside. Thomas just in general has touchdown upside. And if he's fully healthy, is a nice price tag. But the main upside is going to come from these top 5 guys. So it's finding a captain that you like and then rolling from there, because the mid-range, my man, from the $7,000 to like the $5,000 range, it is bare. This range right here from J.D. McKissick to Curtis Samuel, a lot of guys have question marks. They're going to see a lot of usage though, so it's touchdown or bust probably on most of those players.